Hey internet! Today I'm going to do a video comparing living in Australia and living in England. I feel like this could be kind of controversial and I'm going to try and be not biased, but it's going to be hard because I feel like I'm more of an Australian even though I was born in England and now living in England. Fun fact, England can fit inside Australia about 40 times. That's a lot. So like we are comparing literally like a tiny thing compared to like a whole massive thing. Location. Australia is very isolated. We're far away from everyone and everything and it's hard to travel. England's close to Europe. It's closer to the USA and South America and like basically anywhere you ever want to travel, England tends to be closer unless you want to go to Asia. Although because of our location in the hemisphere / world, we have really good weather. And the con to England being so greatly located and centrally located is that everyone wants to live there and then it's really overpopulated. Nightlife. Basically everything in Australia closes early compared to Europe, which sucks. But the supermarkets tend to close around maybe 9. You can always go out and buy alcohol at like 10 o'clock at night in England, whereas in Australia it's probably closed by like 6, so bit of a bummer. Obviously all big cities are going to have clubs that are open for long periods of time and close a lot later than clubs in like small towns and stuff, like that's just everywhere. But I'd definitely say that kind of England has a better nightlife, or in London has better nightlife than a lot of the cities in Australia. Daylight savings. A lot of states in Australia do have daylight savings. My state doesn't, and neither does like Western Australia, which is like that huge half of Australia that we just gave a whole state to. We don't have daylight savings, and here in England I definitely love that it's like daylight from, I don't know, like 6 till 9 at night. Downside, obviously it gets darker in winter earlier, but that's everywhere. Entertainment. A lot of celebrities, famous people either live in England or the USA. I feel like they're both really central. No one really can be famous and live in Australia full time. You'd always have to be like flying out to either England or America to film films or like do concerts and all that stuff. Tickets to things like concerts, any kind of comedy tour or like just any kind of entertainment is like ludicrously expensive in Australia, like ridiculously so. Probably because they have to like literally pay for all their travel expenses to get here, so that sucks. Shopping. England definitely has a lot more shopping options. They have access to like really good makeup, all the kind of American-y brands. It's easily shipped over. Hardly anywhere ships to Australia and it really sucks. It's getting better these days, but honestly when I was a teenager it was like horrible. You could never buy anything online and get it delivered to Australia. They would all be like, yeah, it's too far. And we'd be like, okay, we'll wear Saks, thanks. I mean, we have good stores, but not that good. The whole of Europe has better shopping than us, makeup-wise, clothes-wise, even sometimes like food-wise. Which brings me to my next topic, food. I think that English supermarkets, they've got this extensive range of like amazing junk food, but I definitely say Australia has like less of that stuff, which is good. I also think that we have a lot fresher produce in Australia from what I've seen. Like I feel like I've visited a lot of the supermarkets here and in Australia. I definitely think we have like fresher fruit and fresher space. We definitely have more space. We have a lot of space. I don't know anyone in Australia that lives in a house as tiny as the houses here that are like average. You just don't have as much space. England, I'm sorry, you park on the roads because no one can have space to have a garage, and that's annoying because you have to literally like pull over behind a parked car to let another car come because you're on their side of the road because everyone's parked on your side of the road. It's ridiculous. All the houses are really kind of shoeboxy in England. A lot of people have like bathrooms under their stairs because they're just taking advantage of all the room they have. Backyards tend to be on the small sides or non-existent, and obviously in cities it's all going to be like that. But I live in a little suburb, it's the same. It's all kind of cramped, there's not much space. Things like a lot of Australians have water tanks, and no one has spaces for water tanks. But can you imagine how much like money people would save here on water if they had water tanks? Because it literally rains like a lot. Weather. Basically, I feel like Australia, although it can be rainy, it doesn't never rain in Australia, but I feel like we have consistently good weather. If it rains, you can still go outside, it's not that big of a deal. In the winter, people still go to the beach. We don't really have such like segregated seasons. It's all just kind of like really, really hot, really nice, or a bit chilly. Obviously there is snow somewhere, but I still don't think it's like as unbearably cold. I've also heard that there's just like huge blocks of the year where you just can't go outside in England and Ireland and Scotland, and that would suck. Like you just can't go outside because it's just such like dark, cold, rainy weather, and all the outdoor activities are not an option. In Australia, however, I feel like you can always go outside. Most days you can go outside unless there's like a tornado, or as we call them, cyclones. Healthcare. Ours is shit. Australia's is shit. It's really shit. I definitely say England have a really good health system. Theirs is mostly free, and that's what we should have. Costs. We have cheaper petrol in Australia. I feel like the supermarket thing, everyone says that England has cheaper like food shopping, but I'd honestly say that it's about level. Like it all works out in the end being about the same. I think alcohol is probably a tiny bit cheaper in England, but when you go out clubbing in London, it's like the most expensive shit ever. So then again, it's like, at least in Australia, it's consistently the same sort of prices. Everyone asks me about house prices. Basically, I didn't own a house in Australia. I don't own a house here. I've never owned a house, so I have no idea. But rent-wise, I can say that renting in Brisbane, which was a city in Australia, if you don't know, and in London, which I'm going to rent and I've been looking into, it's about the same price to rent a whole house in Brisbane as it is to rent a room in London. London is like, and Brisbane's like here. So I'd say the renting prices are very high, and I definitely would think that the housing prices would be higher here. It just depends where you want to live. Obviously, if you live out in Whoop Whoop, which means the middle of nowhere in Australian slang terms, then it's going to be cheap because no one wants to live there. But if you want to live somewhere desirable and nice, as well as the rest of the population, then it's going to be expensive. And that's the same everywhere. Public transport. London has literally the best public transport system ever, amongst the best transport system ever. Although, the tube strikes a lot, and if you rely on the tube to get to work, to get home, etc., and they're on strike, you're screwed. They usually do buses, but it's just like... But on a good day, they run every 2 minutes, and you're guaranteed to get places on time. It's really handy. I would say it's really expensive though. It's literally like sometimes $10 Australian or £5 to get between stops. In Australia, we have pretty shit transport in the suburbs, but we still have it. The cities have it really good. I know Melbourne have like free transport if you're in the main like city centre. And obviously it's going to be really hard to make a good public transport system in such a huge country. You can't cover everywhere. Again, in the cities it's going to be really good, and in the suburbs it's going to be less good. In England they're more consistent, but they have got less country to transport. They've got less country to cover. They've got this small bit. We've got 40 times the land to cover and put transport stuff in. Words, talks. Everyday living and lifestyle. I would definitely say living in Australia, it's like most days are good, as I've said. Most days you can have this amazing lifestyle, outdoor lifestyle. Like you can mostly always go to the beach, you can go swimming, you can go boating, you can go fishing, you can go camping, you can go barbecuing, you can play outside, you can play outdoor sports most of the year. Like that's your lifestyle. You can always kind of go outside and be outside. England, you literally have massive blocks of the year, as I said, where you just can't go outside, and that would suck. It kind of comes down to you either live somewhere amazing and you can't travel that often, or you live somewhere kind of shit and you can travel all the time. Dangerous animals. Yes, Australia has a lot of dangerous animals. We have poisonous spiders, poisonous snakes, we have crocodiles, we have jellyfish, we have sharks. We're well known for all the kind of horrible insects you could possibly get. But honestly, it all comes down to where you live. When you're living somewhere like the bush, you've got to expect snakes and bugs and stuff like that. And when you live in the city, you're rarely gonna see them. When you live somewhere hot like up north and you're surrounded by like lakes and creeks and stuff, you're gonna have to expect crocodiles. And if you live by the beach, anywhere is gonna have sharks. You just have to be careful. Government-wise, I think everyone has a shit government except maybe Antarctica. And I just want to point out that they just voted for the most livable cities in the world, and Melbourne was voted #1. Also in the top 10 for Australian cities. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. If I didn't cover anything and you want my opinion, or you want to share your opinion on something that I didn't mention or something I did mention, feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to hear about different opinions from people who have lived in both places or are considering moving to one of the places, or you just want to know, you're just curious about Australian life or English life. Leave me a comment. I tried not to be too biased, even though I'm pretty pro-Australian. I didn't keep track of like points or anything. I was honestly just comparing the two. I honestly love living in Australia. England has its benefits, but I'm always going to be an Aussie gal, I think. So I am biased. But yeah, I hope I didn't offend anyone. I hope that I didn't come across as like an anti-England person. And I hope that you enjoyed, as always. So thank you for watching. I hope you had a very pleasant experience, and I will see you next time. Thank you. Yeah, cheers for watching, cubs. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, fuck off.